We're talking about Russell Westbrook being awesome in Denver, and he couldn't do that for anyone else in the last couple of years. But how we doing? Chuck Silver, Nick Marro here with Occupy Fantasy. It's Friday, January 17th. We're here to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. Got a pretty good slate, big slate today. Some value stuff we're going to talk about. If you see on the screen here, no shortage of value, whether or not we like it. We'll get to that in a bit. But Nick, how we doing?
Good man. Yeah, like you said, we have some value. It's just all a little bit dicey. And then again, the two sites have split up the slates a little bit. FanDuel has the late games, DK doesn't. Makes it kind of annoying as far as content goes, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave up the FanDuel games in there today, and so you'll just notice they'll probably have 0% ownership on DraftKings. But for those of you
Mhm,
playing FanDuel, so you can kind of see where everyone falls in the model.
mhm.
Uh, this is sorted by DK value. I'll start by OF index for a moment. I just want to point out Jokic once again top of the model, but he is not as far above everyone else as he usually is. So that's something to keep in mind. Him, Wemby, and Giannis look very similar tonight. Not that Jokic is pulling a lot of ownership. We want to get away from him, but a couple other top options: Lamelo, SGA, and then we kind of, unfortunately, Anthony Davis is in that second tier of stars today, as are probably about all of these guys. So, anything you want to point out from here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Wemby's FanDuel only. I do prefer Giannis over Joker in spite of what the model's saying right now. Like you said, they're a little bit closer than usual. Historically, Bam's done pretty well against Jokic. I know he's taken a step back defensively this year. And again, we don't want to look too deeply into these matchups, but I think that's the main reason their OF indexes are kind of showing closely. And then yeah, Jokic not quite a late scratch. Like he wasn't scratched after lock. But he did get scratched right before that game started last time out, so I'm a little bit concerned about his health coming into this one. So, yeah, not my favorite pay up on a day with a lot of value. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how we end up building.
We just got the dumbest piece of news. Jimmy Butler is playing today.
Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen. Uh,
Um, Miami Heat are the oh no, they're 1 point dogs to Denver. Bizarre. I wonder, does that mean Jokic is not playing?
Denver's had to travel a lot lately. They already played a back to back this week.
Hmm.
I think it's just like travel and
Okay.
that type of crap. But again, like I said, I don't know 100% that he's going to be in yet. Checking the injury report right now, he's still questionable. He has an elbow sprain he's dealing with and an illness. I don't know which is real, but I think it's actually the illness that's been keeping him out more.
Okay. Every site I checked today has him projected to play, so this is
Yeah, he
an
should be.
it's not like a late game, starts an hour after lock, so hopefully we'll get that news early if we need to make any adjustments. I don't have much Jokic. I got more Jokic than I expected, but I'm not going to have a ton. I actually might be over this 13% though.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I'm not getting him at all. There's a lot of good centers tonight. Giannis does have that power forward eligibility, so I'm pretty comfortable getting away from him.
I'd assume I wouldn't get much on FanDuel either. But let's
Mhm.
start with the first game of the night, Orlando Boston. We have Paolo Banchero projected for 29. That's actually 1 minute less than we projected for him last time, so I'm pretty comfortable running with that 29. Cole Anthony looks terrible actually in value. Starting by value, we're looking at KCP, Wendell Carter, who's the guy I'm getting the most from this team. And then I got a couple percent of Paolo up top. What were you looking at here?
Not much, man. Again, we don't have all the news yet. It's not like we're waiting on anything too pivotal, but I'm pretty comfortable just kind of getting away from this game, knowing it's two good defensive teams. They're healthier than they have been. Obviously, the Magic's still missing a bunch of pieces, but everyone's kind of priced where they should be. Celtics are healthier than they've been pretty much all season, which makes them tough to play at their respective prices. So, other than maybe mixing in like some Trevor and Queen, hoping this game blows out, like I don't know that I'm really rushing to anything here. I get the Bonchero call. Carter looks fine. I don't like that he's center only on DK though. Then the Boston guys up top. I mean, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, fine, fine, fine. But again, I don't really want to lock up these spots for guys that are priced where they should be. Hoping maybe we get a little bit more news throughout the evening.
Yep, I agree. And I always talk about on these streams, a 15-point spread for Boston isn't really a 15-point spread because for some reason they just can't beat bad teams into the ground. But
Mhm.
with that said, I'm not getting exposure to the Boston side, and I mentioned a little bit of exposure I was getting to Orlando. But the main thing is I just want to save those spots for later. It's not that I
Yep.
dislike these players that much. It's just like Wendell Carter when we have Drew Eubanks, Filipowski, six other value centers playing later, which we know about. There might be more we don't know about. So I like saving the roster spots. If you avoid this game, it's probably okay.
Yep. Totally agree.
Nice. Minnesota's visiting the Knicks. What do you think about the Anthony Edwards at Madison Square Garden narrative tonight?
I mean, he's fine. Again, kind of priced where he should be, but the issue is DiVincenzo's out, and the big games he's been having lately have come with Dante starting at point guard. I know that I sound like a broken record. I say this every time they're on the slate, but him being at point does create a lot of additional spacing that they're not getting with Mike Conley on the floor. So it's tough for me to feel as good about him here against a pretty strong defensive team. All that being said, it is the Garden. Shooters shoot in the Garden. He's going to want to show up. Probably plays as many minutes as almost anyone on the Knicks, which is certainly saying something. But again, I don't like him as much without DiVincenzo starting next to him. I do think that's significant.
So he's projected for 8% on DK. I'm at 6 right now. I really hope I still have 6 at lock. I like him. I don't necessarily want to go over the field. This feels like the kind of play that we know is going to work out after 1 minute or after a couple minutes if he makes his first couple shots or not, right?
Yeah.
Are you looking at anyone else here? I mentioned Gobert at 5,400 at only 5%. I'm still interested in taking shots, less interested than I was the other times we mentioned this, just due to how many value centers we have today. But I want to make sure that he is in my exposures.
Yeah, I mean, he's a center worth mixing in. Actually, like, I don't know. Alexander Walker is one of the chalkiest plays on the slate. I think that's a little bit
Gross.
insane. I do
Yeah.
think he's decent for value. I do prefer Conley, though. Like, he would not be 3,500 if he continued to start at point. Like I said, it's been Dante's show recently. We saw him up in the 5K range when he was the consistent starter. So I think Conley's underpriced. It's interesting. On FanDuel, he's very popular, or at least he was earlier in the day. DK, it doesn't seem like he's getting as much love, 17% owned right now. Actually, 17% on both sites. I'm actually comfortable coming in above that. I know he's not the best producer in terms of offense, but they do need a floor general. He is that guy. I'm pretty comfortable playing him.
Yeah, I got way too much Conley on my first run. It's just these 3,500 guys fit in so easy, especially when every pay up is playing today.
Yeah.
With that said, model has him as a really strong value on DK. He's only 3,500. So don't think of the Mike Conley we were paying like 43, 4,700 for, whatever. We're only paying 3,500, projected for 25 and a half minutes. Like Nick mentioned, no Dante. So hopefully it's a couple more minutes. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I wasn't getting that much. I'm surprised he's projected for this much ownership. I know he's cheap, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I actually think Conley's safer. Alexander Walker has shown to have more of an upside in this type of role coming off the bench. But Reed's probably the first guy off the bench here. I'm actually more interested in Naz Reed, albeit he's a forward, and it's tougher to find cheap guards tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it if he's going to be popular. Like I said, I'm more comfortable playing Conley, and that doesn't feel all that good to begin with. But I'd rather go Naz Reed than Alexander Walker if I could find the salary.
I'll mention Jaden McDaniels because he's shown up with a pretty strong value score on DK. I think we have other guys in this range. He's not a priority, but he is in there for me. And Julius Randle at the bottom here. I was getting a bunch. Cheap as the price is really good. He's I don't know, revenge narrative against his old team, but the model says just stay away. Projected for under 10% ownership though.
Yeah, and the thing with Randall, I was hand building on DK. He like fits in perfectly with
Yeah.
like chalk in two of the better pay ups. Like if you have SGA Giannis or like Lamelo Giannis, something like that, I found that was landing on a lot of Randall at power forward, which is probably the thinnest position tonight. So I don't really like Randall. I think he's maybe more owned than he should be by the time we get to lock, just because he is one of the decent power forward options. But yeah, McDaniels, who you brought up, he's been shooting pretty well, even with low usage, consistently hitting value. So I don't mind mixing him in as a value play.
Nice. And let's see what we got going on in the chat here. Sup, Carmen, Heath, Savage. Let's crush, dude. Jose, Aiton, and Simon suck. I think we can just cross Aiton out every single day, unless it's like a 2 or 3 gamer. I just don't see why we even have to take the risk anymore.
Yeah, he's been killing everyone lately, even against good centers. Like you just can't play him right now.
And then Anthony Simons, he's just going to be a 2% GPP play until he goes off again, and then we'll see his ownership jump the next game and fall back to Scoot and Delano Banton or whatever.
Yeah, I was playing Zero Banton last night. That game blew out. He got a ton of extra run that absolutely buried me. So
I played a bunch of Banton. It didn't matter.
yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to be done with Portland. They've been pretty brutal the last couple of days.
All right. Yeah, Keontae George. I think he's going to look good again today. We'll take a look at him.
Yeah, Sexton back, which is significant, but he does still look pretty good at his price.
They were going to double Jimmy's fines. Miami players don't want him. Yeah, completely destroys the chemistry. We'll talk about Miami when we get there, but I already didn't like the prices when I thought Jimmy wasn't going to play, so it's going to be tough to get there. Amari, what's up, Chucks? I love it, dude. I mentioned yesterday on stream, one of my old bosses used to call me Chucks. Half my friends call me Chucks.
Nice.
Yeah, Mike, let's get this. And you want to play Svi? I'm interested in Svi, yeah, but we'll take a look at Utah when we get there. There's a couple plays that we got to figure out.
Yes, he actually burnt me the last Jazz slate, and that was with Sexton out. He DNP'd.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I'm proceeding with caution on him right now.
yeah. He's going to be at the bottom of the value list, but I guess he is on the list still. What are you getting from New York? I got surprisingly little ownership over here with a cat being questionable today.
Yeah, I mean, think Cat plays. I'd be surprised if he didn't. Brunson did miss, or no, Cat missed last game, so I guess it's possible he's out again. I'm guessing he wants to get up for his former team. Josh Hart coming off that ridiculous triple double. If they're all in, you can't really expect that again. If Cat were to sit, I'm fine getting to him there. And then again, Brunson. I actually, DK has that goofy promotion like King of the Court or whatever. Whoever finishes with the most points, rebounds, assists. I put a $5 bet on Brunson a double double. It netted me $400+ in bonus bets because put that in when Cat came out. So I'm definitely liking Brunson right now, but that's going to be more so if Cat's out again. I think there's other guards in that price range that have more upside if Cat is available, and I do expect he's playing.
Yeah, that was a good call by you. Those are the best. What do they call it? Like King of the Hill
King
or
of the
something?
Court, yeah.
King of the Court. I don't have that in my state, but it's such a good idea to get like an off
DFS
player.
brain. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's like DFS mine definitely helps there because everyone's playing like Giannis, Wemby, Jokic, and if one of them wins, you get like $8 in bonus bets. But if one of these other guys that people aren't picking ends up getting there, yeah, $400 on a $5 bet, can't complain about that.
well, like you said, it's similar to DFS, except the lower owned the guy is, the more you get paid. So it actually matters a lot.
Yeah,
That sounds so fun.
not to get too off topic, but the NFL did longest touchdown too on DK.
Yeah,
A few guys had Samuel. They get over 100K, I think, in bonus bets. Something absolutely ridiculous.
like that's the way to go. You're never going to hit in your life, but imagine if you do one time, dude. Way better than picking
It's
like
way better. And the
whoever.
$5 bet qualifies. It's like a scratch ticket.
Oh man, I can't wait till 2028. That's the year that I'm convinced sports betting will be legal in California.
Hey, good luck.
Anything else on New York?
I think all the starters are viable, but I can't really call any of them priorities right now. So again, if Cat is out, I wouldn't want to play the cheap centers. I would just want to get more Hart and Brunson.
Yeah, Cat and Brunson look great in OF Index. Josh Hart looks awesome in OF Index, even with a Cat in, but no one really stands out points per dollar. So I have zero exposure to the Knicks right now. If I end up with that, I'm okay. If Cat's out, that's definitely going to change, though.
Oh yeah, big time.
Denver, Miami. We talked about Jokic a little bit. Let's talk about this game as if Jokic plays. So Jamal Murray is probable. Aaron Gordon is questionable. Did you have a lean there?
I'm thinking he's in. He's been coming off the bench though, so I don't know that it's really significant either way.
Okay. I mean, Jokic, really great OF index. I'm kind of surprised Jamal Murray still has a double digit OF index against Miami with Jokic in, but his price is really good. The ownership isn't too bad. So Jamal Murray, GPP play.
Yeah, he's kind of been in his bag lately. That game the other night against Dallas was on national TV, and he was. I haven't seen Murray play that well in a long time, and he's playing hurt.
Nice.
So he's been really gutting it out. I don't mind him at his price. You can play him at shooting guard as well, which makes it a little easier to build with him. But if Jokic is in this matchup, it's tough for me to sit here and say he's like a priority or anything. But he has been playing well. I do think he's a little bit underpriced even with Jokic in the lineup.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, MPJ, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, GPP plays. Any interest at all?
No,
Nope.
honestly, it would be Russ next.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, the minutes are going to be limited if Jokic and Murray are in.
And game isn't too late, only an hour after lock. If Jokic gets ruled out, then you guys know what to do. We're going to like Jamal. We're going to like Russ. I still like MPJ as a GPP play, even though he hasn't had a good game in a month. And then the other guys, I think we can mix in too. But again, we still have a lot of good value. So it's not like this is going to, make up the bulk of our exposures if we get that news. Other side of this game, Miami.
Jimmy, the turd in the punch bowl. I don't really know how to handle this. I was hoping you'd be out. I've been playing Jovic a lot off the bench lately. That's been
Nice.
going really well. Hero at his price, it's pretty much as expensive as he's ever been, but he's been hitting value pretty consistently. Those were the two I'd be interested in. But with Jimmy in now, it's like I don't think he can play anything. Like he could just decide to hog the ball, or he has been sitting on the couch and he has no conditioning and he's going to be limited. It's like impossible to project Butler in this matchup. And yeah, I just think we can avoid the Heat for the most part.
I have 1% Duncan Robinson, 0.5% Tyler Harrow. That's it.
Yeah,
I think it's okay. No one stands out in the model. No one has a strong value score. Terry's is okay, but I feel like we can play literally anybody else.
yeah, Jimmy's gonna kill any data. There's usage rates when this team was healthy and happy. We can't even look at those numbers. Like he's either gonna just walk around on the court or completely take over. I would rather just not play him. I doubt he's gonna completely take over, but I don't know. We can't project much for the Heat with him in. It's tough.
Is Morant playing? It sounds like he is.
I believe so. Yeah.
And then I want to talk about this. Good question, Mystorian. How do we stay encouraged doing this consistently? I've been getting killed even with playing good plays. Honestly, it's just I'm very used to it. I played poker before this, and so you got to understand if you're playing DFS, the downswings are soul crushing, and
Mhm.
you're basically always if you're playing large field GPPs anyway, and to a lesser degree small fields, you're basically always going to be in a downswing until you ship a tournament. And
Yep.
that's just how it goes. Sometimes variance will miss you that month and you won't ship a tournament like I have this month. Like I'm in a downswing right now. I've talked about it,
Yeah.
trying to improve. And I don't think I changed my process. My process is good. I'm trying to find ways to improve it, but am I playing poorly or is variance, like really hitting me hard? And it's always usually a little mix of both.
Mhm.
But just got to stick with it, man. Keep making good decisions. Don't be results oriented and stay within your bankroll is probably the number one
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Never play more than you can afford to lose. That's the biggest thing. Don't chase losses. If you're losing all week, you're not due. Like that's not a thing. That's not a stat. That
Mhm.
doesn't work. But yeah, maybe switch up the contest. Play something smaller. Just try to get that mojo back any way you can. But again, it's more refining the process. You can't be results oriented in DFS, especially nowadays when there's so much good content out there, especially for NBA, which is one of the more projectable sports. Like it's tough. It's going to be tough. But a couple GPP pinks a year. I have like 1.5 under my belt, one big one and one pretty small. But that's pretty much kept me in the green through a pretty cold month. So I'm happy to just keep grinding. But again, it comes with time. It's not for the faint of heart. I've been playing over a decade on FanDuel, pretty much close to that on DraftKings as well. So yeah, it's a labor of love, but when you hit, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I had that monster week in December. I took down like 6 GPPs,
Yeah.
got fourth in two of the huge tournaments, even in football. But since then, it's just been downswing. But the thing is, like, because I won so much that week, getting close to the top of these GPPs, I'm still massive, like not massively, but I'm still very well in the profit over that time period. And so, just you gotta just keep, you know, keep going.
Yep. And there is evergreen content on the site about contest selection, things like
Yeah.
that. There's also satellite contests, like you could try to win tickets to get into higher dollar stuff so you're not really hurting your bankroll even when you're losing. There are ways to kind of climb out of that hole, but patience is always a big variable.
Yeah, if you guys are in the Discord, I guess I haven't been doing as much lately, but like satellites are my bread and butter. I mean, my
You're
ROI on
coming to
satellites is
Occupy.
crazy. Yeah, all of us, like that's the whole Occupy strategy. Play low buy-ins, win the tickets to the big contests, and then, just ship one time.
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
haven't shipped yet.
sometimes forget to get into the satellites, but coming to Occupy a few years ago, like that's the biggest thing that's changed in my game. It's just they really preach satellites here, and it goes overlooked. Like you won't hear many sites talking about it, but it's the bread and butter. We have guys in $1,000 contests that usually play $20 a night and stuff, and yeah, that just comes with playing the right contest, maintaining bankroll.
Is Nikhil Alexander Walker getting the start? I don't think so, but
No,
maybe. Oh,
it's
is it confirmed?
official.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mike
Nice.
Conley's officially starting.
Okay. Nice. Why is Kate Middleton so low? Because she's coming off the bench.
I mean, the price. Are we on this game yet? No. I don't hate Middleton as a play off the bench at 4,900. I think he's pretty interesting. But yeah, coming off the bench, probably capped at 24 minutes. I don't know. It just kind of hurts his upside.
Jose, you don't like getting to Denver players when Jokic just not playing. When he's not on the court, they all suck. I disagree. It's just the rates when Jokic is off for Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray are tremendous.
Yeah, Russ especially. We've seen a big difference. But yeah, I get it, Jose. Like Brown and Porter Jr. doesn't really get any better with Jokic off the floor. But Murray and Westbrook, just like Chuck said, those are the two I think you would be on.
And like Jamal, I know Jamal is frustrating, but he's $1,000 too cheap if Jokic is out.
Mm-hmm.
How many studs can we fit tonight, and who would they be? Ooh, I don't even know what my single entry looks like right now.
My first build on ZK had Giannis and LaMelo. It's pretty easy to fit Giannis with one of the top guards on DK. Haven't built on FanDuel yet, but I'm guessing it's the same. I think it's two tonight. And again, I'm not paying all the way up for Joker. Makes it a little bit easier. On FanDuel, Wemby is up to 12K. But again, you could kind of use value at center there tonight and make it work if you need to.
My highest owned studs in order: SGA, Giannis, LaMelo. Scroll down a little bit, Jokic.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and contest selection. Good job. Yeah, I mean, that goes with the small field thing. If you're, focus on small fields for a little bit. I'm trying to focus on smaller fields now too. It's just hard because I usually set up my stuff for large field GPPs. So still trying to figure out how to build both within the same set of projections.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just put their like top projected lineups into the smaller field
That's
stuff.
what I used to do. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I can do something better. I used to win a lot doing that, but DFS is, people are getting better. It's getting harder to win.
Yeah. I mean, all the Sims came in a few years ago, and like that was the big thing. But I think it's kind of the pendulum's kind of swung back into just playing projections for NBA. Like, I don't know. We could go on for hours talking about Sims and things like that. But I think there's flaws in some of that stuff.
I like this question too. Nick, you mentioned pay up options depends on slate. How many pay ups would we suggest today and for what position? I mean, today I think we have a lot of value options. And so I think it's more, my lineups are leaning towards stars and scrubs, especially the top end options we have.
Yeah, I think, like I said, today it's pretty easy to build with two, but at the same time, if you don't trust the value for Minnesota or Utah, you don't want to use all these scrubs, you could go more balanced, and that's a good way to get different. And if the chalk doesn't hit, like we've been seeing that this recently, like, I don't know, Atlanta had a few guys that have been duds with everybody out. There's a few other situations I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But if the value doesn't do well, the chalk value, and you are balanced, that's usually when you could have a good night. At the same time, I do think there's enough good value, especially in Utah tonight, where I do prefer having two studs in most lineups. But again, it kind of depends on your strategy and your risk tolerance.
Scrolling through my exposures, it looks like the only position I'm not paying up for is small forward, which maybe we just don't have a small forward to pay up for. But like I'm paying up at center, point guard.
Yeah, I think that's more a product of the
Forward.
slate than anything. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
top OF
Yeah.
index is Tatum for small forward, and then there's like nothing until Scotty Barnes on DK. So there's really not much to choose from as far as payups go there.
All right, let's talk about another team before we jump back into the question. Charlotte, Chicago, really like this game. Interested in LaMelo. I took his points, rebounds, assists overs. I took Brandon Miller's overs, even though he's questionable. Mark Williams is probable at 6,800. I still feel that he's underpriced for his ownership. Getting some exposure here. What do you think?
Absolutely. One of the best games on the slate, two pretty bad defenses. They've actually been playing pretty well, both teams offensively, even the Hornets, which is kind of shocking to say. Hornets did trade away Nick Richards to the Suns, which has secured the minutes for Williams, so I'm with you. I think he's a little bit too cheap. LaMelo continues to play excellent. This is the type of matchup he should do well in. And then, yeah, I'm fine getting to Bridges. Miller's kind of taken a step back over the past few weeks. He's one guy I'm really not getting too much, but I don't think the field is either. But yeah, man, this is one of the better games we have on the slate for sure. And both Ball brothers here, maybe we get a LiAngelo concert at halftime.
Oh man, I saw them talking about LiAngelo, and the celebrity game is going to be great in the next couple of years.
Gonna bet his props.
Right, overshot to
over. Hell
He's
yeah.
not passing the ball. But I'm getting a ton of LaMelo. A bit. I'm trying to get more Mark Williams, but like I've been mentioning the whole show, we have a lot of centers. Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller are in there too. Anything beyond those guys though?
Not really. I do like Miller, I think, more than most do. I want to check his ownership real quick.
1% on DK, but he's cheaper on FanDuel.
No, I love it. And like we said, small forward, there's not a lot to pay up for tonight. I think Brandon Miller is someone I want in a lot of lineups. I'm fine playing him with LaMelo, but in lineups where I'm going to SGA or another pay up guard, I do want to make Bridges a priority.
Nice. On the other side of this game, Chicago, Josh Giddey is the guy showing up in my stuff. And then I really, really like Vucevic against Charlotte in general. Those are my two highest owned guys from this team. And then I guess some Lonzo for value. What do you like?
So Ayo's back, right? I think he's still limited to an extent. I do want to
Yeah, he's
kind
probably
of
in.
Yeah. So this is the type of matchup typically where we see Giddy's minutes capped around 30. This
Mhm.
has been a trend I've been kind of tracking. When they play against an elite guard like an SGA, LaMelo, Trey Young, etc., they can't leave Giddy on the floor as much as they do against teams without elite backcourts in terms of scoring. He's just a terrible defender. He can still get there as far as price goes, but I do prefer getting to Kobe White, Zach LaVine here.
So I gave Josh Giddey this 29 minutes, which I think is slightly higher than a couple other spots in the industry, and getting 16%, which is almost double the field. Maybe I end up with that by lock, but either way, Josh Giddey showing up with the, I guess, tied for third highest value on this team. No one like stands out for points per dollar value. They're all just GPP plays to run back, I guess, LaMelo.
Yeah, I mean Levine's price is up. He's been playing really well. Some of those big games were without Ao, and I'm going to say Lonzo once again. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think Giddy's minutes could be cut into a little bit here. Why not give Lamelo or Lonzo 24 plus against his brother? He's capped at like 25. We're not going to see him go over that, but at his price, his fantasy point per minute rate can carry him, especially on FanDuel where you're getting extra points for stocks. I don't mind Lonzo as a contrarian value piece.
Let's go to Toronto, Milwaukee. Toronto, I'm getting decent exposure here. What are you getting?
Not as much as you, I imagine. I don't mind Barnes. I don't mind Barrett. Like I said, forward kind of tough to find anything too great tonight. Those are the two I'm most interested in. Wouldn't want them in the same lineup. If Davion Mitchell's starting at point guard, I have zero interest. Not going to play Podol against this front court, so it's really the wings for me. I don't mind Barrett. I don't mind Barnes. It's pretty much it. Grady Dick's cheap enough, but there's other value I prefer in his price range. So again, really just the wings, the expensive wings on Toronto for me.
Well, I'm getting a pretty decent amount of Grady Dick, about double the field on DK, and then Jakob Pertl. I mean, he has a great DK value, 9.7 OF index at only 6,200. I'm double the field on DK right now too, at about 20%.
That one scares me. I never want to go against the model, but honestly, I'm pretty comfortable coming in under on him. He's struggled against Milwaukee most of the time, even with one of Barrett or Barnes out. I can't imagine that helps him too much here.
And then Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett, I kind of like taking some GPP shots on.
Agreed.
I
Those are
usually
the two.
prefer I usually prefer Scotty, but I'm getting slightly more RJ today. It might just be that extra 800 matters.
I also think small forward is just terrible. Like I said, I think that's
Yeah.
the bigger thing. Barnes has point guard eligibility. There's a lot of good guards, but I think Barrett's probably shooting up a little bit just because small forward's pretty shallow.
I got to mention Bruce Brown is expected to play today. We haven't projected for 18 minutes. I don't think we can play him at all. He's 3,200, but we do have other near min price options. Kelly Olynyk is 3,100 again. I don't think we have to go that deep. And I'll mention Chris Boucher is firmly back in the rotation, but that might change with Bruce Brown back. So just be careful if you're playing him.
Yeah, I would play Brown, I think, over Boucher, again, just because of the positionality, but I'm really not hyped to get to either.
Other side of this game, we have one of the highest OF index plays of the day in Giannis, 15.9. Uh, Ownership's not too bad. Dame's pulling a little bit of ownership too, but Burke Lopez stands out for value. Nothing else really stands out here. I mean, are you looking at anything at the top end or even like AJ Green on the bottom?
No AJ Green for me. I like Giannis. I was getting a lot of him. The more I think about it, though, like I think I want to pay up at guard more. But yeah, I'm not going to argue with anyone getting to Giannis. Again, he's closer to Jokic than usual in terms of OF index today. Over on FanDuel, I will say I do think Wemby's the better play for only 200 more. You can play him at power forward or center. But on DK, where that game isn't available, Giannis probably my favorite raw point upside play. But like I said, I'm more comfortable with some of the value at forward and center today than I am guard. So probably going to lower Giannis's exposure a little bit, what I have right now. But I do like him. Not going to talk anyone off him.
I have 32% Giannis on DK. Pretty happy if it stays like that. And then Bobby Portis. I'm getting more Bobby Portis than the field. I'm at 14% right now. I might try to reduce that. Don't mind mixing him in, but I'd rather just be really with the field or slightly under, I think.
Yeah, for 400 cheaper, I know the minutes are not great, but I'd rather play Middleton, honestly. Again, small forward. I know I'm getting redundant at this point. Tough to fill that spot. Pretty much the same price. I'd rather play Chris.
Yeah, it's just I don't love Chris Middleton today, but the 9% ownership at 4,900 seems fine.
Yeah, he's like a last piece in. He's the same price as Naz Reid, who I'd prefer. But if you need a small forward, I think Middleton makes sense.
Cash plays. I'm just going to sort by ownership. So Sensabaugh, Nah, SGA, Giannis. You could probably honestly fit all 5 of these guys, or swap out Giannis or SGA for LaMelo, swing in a couple of these other guys, and yeah, that's cash build right there. Let's see. Who's your sharp DK fade? I don't think I have one yet. Do you have one, Nick?
I don't know. I think Nas overowned, so I'm probably gonna have some. Who else is popular? I guess I'll say Alexander Walker. This could absolutely come back to bite me. He's so cheap; he doesn't need to do a ton to get there. But yeah, I think he's overowned compared to Mike Conley.
We've been crushing the fades on the show lately.
Yeah, Bogdan, Maxi.
We don't. I don't know if we're too confident in anything. Maybe something will pop up in these last couple games.
Yeah.
Yeah. NHL apparently is pretty good for a lot of people.
Yeah, everyone's printing in NHL, but it's impossible to juggle the two. Like you guys that are playing both, I mean, that's what we're here for to help you with that. But if we're digging deep on NBA, it's tough. Like I had a conversation with a buddy recently. He's a huge hockey fan. He's like, I don't get why you don't like it. You're in a fight sports and everything like that. I'm like, man, I'm just an NBA guy. I just don't have time for the two. It's tough.
Oh, we got Smitty in the chat talking about nukes of the night. Remember to get to that before the end of the show. But let's talk about Utah. I saw a question about, are we really going to play Eubanks? Yeah, we are. Tell him about him.
Yeah, Eubanks, I mean, coming off a game where he only played 20 minutes against Mark Williams and Charlotte, still pushed 30 fantasy points against my Nets before that, 30 minutes, which is obviously great to see. There's no John Collins. There is no Lauri Markkanen. And yeah, I just think they like him out there, and they're finally giving the minutes that we wanted them to. He was chalk before he was even playing 20 minutes a game, and now that we know we're getting that from him, he's just too cheap. I'm very comfortable as long as he's starting. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah, let's pull up Eubanks real quick. I will mention I'm also getting exposure to Filipowski, and then I just noticed I'm getting exposure to this guy named Oscar Schwebe. So Eubanks right here, you can see, I think he's a fine play. He's definitely the guy that we want to focus on from this team. And then the other two are the pivots, starting with Filipowski. Didn't have a great game last time, but the ownership seems pretty reasonable today. I don't mind him. Do you like him as a pivot off Eubanks? Would you ever play them together?
I think you could play them together. I'm fine with Filipowski. I mean, I do prefer Sensabaugh, even though Sensabaugh is super popular. I just think the point per minute from him has been tremendous. But yeah, I think all these guys are fine. Again, they're just so thin. No Kessler, no Laurie, no Collins. Like they need these guys in there. And then Cody Williams is on the floor with them a lot of the time. This is a guy who demands no usage at all. I have zero interest in Cody Williams, but it should open things up for the likes of Filipowski. And like I said, Sensabaugh, I like more, even coming off the bench. But I don't think you can go wrong. Again, they're just so cheap and a good matchup.
I just want to point out Oscar Schwebe is projected for 9% on DK. That sounds wrong. I can't imagine he's 9% owned. If he is, then we just can just not play him. He's the flat min. He fouled out in 18 minutes last game. Maybe he would have played a little bit more, but there's so many options. I don't even think we have to look at this. I mean, there's 2 other options just on his own team that are only $1,000 more that we know are going to play good minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than a point per minute guy, but we have him for 10 minutes. So I think we need a little bit more than that.
And then the other guys, I mean, I have 2% Svi, 1% Sexton, 1% Collier. I don't even know if I'll end up having that by the time the slate starts. Or the game starts, I guess.
I wish Sexton was a little bit cheaper. Keontae George looks good here. I'm fine getting to him. I don't know that we get another 40 plus out of him, but yeah, at his price, he's a pretty solid guard play.
This dude Powers out here just playing every DFS sport. I tried most of them, but no, not for me.
For those who don't know, Smitty and I are diehard MLB guys as well. So when basketball ends, MLB starts. I don't know if we're going to be doing videos or not, but we have the plug every day for that too. So definitely year-long grind for us.
Mark Williams hoping for another 50 burger. Yeah, I don't know if he's my nuke of the night yet, but I definitely like him as one of my favorite tournament plays. It is a little harder today because I think we have really good value at center. Yeah, Middleton. I don't know. I just crossed him out of my exposures. If I need Middleton to win tonight, I just won't win, but I don't like it at all.
I think he could get 30 points, which is okay at his price, but yeah, you probably don't need him. Like, you're not going to feel bad if you don't have him.
All right, let's go to the Pelican side of this game. Were you getting much exposure? Because I'm getting a decent amount, and I haven't even altered my projection for Trey Murphy yet.
Yeah, it's tricky with Zion back. Like I thought that would really hurt Murphy, but Murphy's still been putting up decent numbers. My favorite play here is probably DeJounte Murray. Just consistently putting up good score. I mean, for a discount, you could go to McCollum as a pivot. I don't love it. I would much rather play Murray if I could find the salary. But yeah, like I said, I thought Murphy was going to suffer in a big way with Zion back, but he's still hitting numbers with Zion in. Keep saying it. Small forward sucks tonight. Trey Murphy, one of the better options. And then Zion himself, if he finally gets a couple more minutes, he could smash at this price. More of like a large field tournament thing. You get him in 5 to 10%. Definitely don't have your night hinge on him. But he has upside against the Jazz and his banged up front court for sure.
Nice. Sorry, I got distracted by some news that we just got.
Uh-oh.
Brandon Miller's out.
Oh, God.
So I was going to mention Miles Bridges as a possible fade, but we can't now. The model already liked him.
I love Bridges. You got to like LaMelo even more.
Yeah, Mark Williams is in. And then the Heat are starting Harrow, Robinson, Butler, Highsmith, Bam.
That's so funny.
Anything else? Go ahead.
No, I just think it's funny that Robinson's suddenly starting again now that Butler's back because they need that spacing. He hasn't been starting. It's been Terry. So, yeah, I still have zero interest in the Heat. Was already heavy on LaMelo and Millers, but yeah, if we're talking Pelicans, like I said, Murray, Murphy, that's the two I'm getting to the most. Don't mind McCollum or Zion, but they're risky.
I got to mention Daniel Tice's DK value, 17.1, 3,100 on DK. You need that min-price center. Play this guy instead of Schwebe. At least we haven't projected for 22 minutes, 11% ownership. I'm not saying he's a great play, but this is the min-price guy that I would play if I needed a min-price guy. There's like 3 min-price guys on this team, though. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl and then Jordan Hawkins showing up with a pretty decent DK value. Absolutely no one's playing him. This is Smitty's boy, so I have 4%.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a pivot off of a chalky Alexander Walker, Jordan Hawkins, pretty solid there. I don't mind it. But yeah, Tice not crazy about it. I mean, he's so damn cheap though; he could easily get there.
Another top of the value model, but there's a lot of top of value model plays today.
Yeah.
OKC, we like SGA a lot, and it's absolutely easy to pay for him. Lou Dort, Kason Wallace are always going to show up as the top values. Jalen Williams, man, this guy looked like a little boy yesterday against this Cavs backcourt.
Yeah, he did. Much better spot here. I mean, Gafford, he's probably going to crush, but defensively, he's nowhere near either of those Cavs bigs. So we can go back to Jalen, especially if the field's afraid of it. I'm personally kind of afraid of it. I'll probably put him into some of my lower dollar stuff, but not the worst play. I think people just, I don't know, recency bias is probably going to ring loud here.
We haven't projected for 11 on DK. The 1% on FanDuel at 4,800. I want to say you can probably just not consider him, but he does. Yep. There's like there's a percentage chance he does it, right? But it's probably lower than 1%. And then on DK, I'm a little bit over the field. That's kind of where I want to be around. I'm at 15. I want to stay exactly at 15 if I can.
Yeah, and it is a back-to-back. It's almost like a good thing that he sucked yesterday and only played 14 minutes. We've seen him play 24 plus this year, so maybe he gets a little bit of an extended run. I was surprised by the spread. I know the Thunder on a back-to-back and traveling, but I think 6 or 7 point favorites here. So this is probably a game we need to take a long, hard look at.
Yeah, and remember, Hartenstein is out, and so the rotation yesterday was so weird. They ran a guy that I don't even know if we had projected minutes for. It's
Carlson.
Right,
I said his name on the stream.
Yeah.
I said I don't think I want to play Brandon Carlson, and of course he outplayed Jalen. But yeah, I think it's probably Jalen over him again tonight. And Kenrich Williams was like the obvious pivot, but he sucked too. He wasn't any good.
Yeah, Kenrich didn't check in until the second quarter. So the rotation was Jalen Williams played 6.5 minutes in the start. Brandon Carlson checked in, finished the first quarter. To start the second quarter, they ran with Kenrich Williams at center. Then they went back to Jalen Williams for a minute. I think he picked up a foul. And they just closed the half with Jalen, the other Jalen Williams, the good Jalen Williams at center, which is something that I thought could happen. And so I still like that today because this Jalen Williams did not play the fourth quarter. We haven't projected for 34 minutes in a weirdly close spread. I think he's a pretty great play at 8K on DraftKings.
He is. He's a great player. I wish he had small forward eligibility.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, where he's pushing 9K, I'm fine using him there as well. Like you said, if he's going to get center minutes here against Dallas, who is pretty small even with Gafford in, I like it. I think Jalen Williams, the good one, is an excellent tournament play.
And just to reiterate, I think SGA is probably one of the best plays of the day on DraftKings. It's no problem to get to him at 10K.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great matchup for him. Even against Cleveland's good defense in a blowout, he got to 60 fantasy points in 29 minutes. Should see no restrictions here on the back-to-back. Probably plays 33 plus as long as this game's competitive. Yeah, SGA checking all the boxes. I mean, LaMelo looks damn good. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit less Giannis now because I'm starting to build lineups with SGA and LaMelo.
Nice. Thoughts on Wendell Carter? I want to get away. It's the first game. I think we can save the spots, but if he's in your lineups, it's fine. It's model
Yeah,
approved.
yeah, he's fine. It's just there's other centers I prefer. And like you said, do you really want to lock up that spot in the first game? I don't know that I do.
If I was a Dodger fan, this would probably be sick, but we got Roki. Congrats to us.
I hate the Dodgers. I'm a Yankees fan. Like we're supposed to be the evil team that overspends, and now we're like struggling to keep up. It's frustrating, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, well, we talked about OKC. Let's go to tell us about Dallas real quick before we hit these last two FanDuel games.
Yeah, I think Kyrie's questionable. I think he's going to play here. I mean, he's cheap enough on one of the sites had him in the 8K range. Trying to find him. Um, where is he? I think he's 9,300 on DK. That's kind of overpriced. 8,200 on FanDuel at 4% though. Probably makes sense to get to a little Kyrie. I know he's going to be seeing a lot of Dort, but he does a good job with pick and roll and screen and all that good stuff. Fine getting to Quentin Grimes coming off the bench as a value play. Not something I'm excited to get to again. Just tough to find value at small forward. Clay, think he's a little bit overpriced. PJ Washington, someone I'm fine mixing in. Gafford is the play of plays, though, especially on DK. FanDuel, he feels overpriced. I still think you could play him, but on DK at 5,500, probably my favorite center by a decent margin.
Nice. Not getting that much on DK Gafford, actually. I mean, I've talked about four centers. I keep mentioning cheap centers. I don't know if we've
I'm
actually said who
shocked.
they are, but
Yeah, not to cut you off, man, but I'm seeing 18%. Like, I thought he would be way more popular. And I know people see OKC and they get afraid. But remember, there's no Hartenstein. He's dealing with the Jalen Williams twins, and it's just not the same matchup for bigs.
I'm only getting 5% Gafford right now, and I don't know that I'm gonna like I want more than 5%, but I'm not gonna like jam him in or anything.
He's in my $40 SE right now. I'll say that.
Okay. Would we play Jalen Williams in a single entry? No.
Which one?
The other one.
Oh, yeah,
So
probably not.
disrespectful. The center.
Jay Williams, should we call him?
That's how we asked. Yeah. Would you play Jay Williams in a single entry?
Yeah, I don't think I would.
McDaniels is value. We think he's fine if he's like the last guy in. If you can find someone else, it's probably better, but I don't hate it. Filipowski, Cody Williams, or Cody Martin. I'll just say Filipowski is my answer because that's who I'm getting the most of.
I want no Cody Williams. I mean, Martin gets a little bit more interesting with Bridges out, but I still think it's Filipowski.
And then, Brooklyn takes your Nets take on my Lakers tonight, man. The battle of two powerhouses, and for some reason, it's only an 11.5 point spread. D'Lo's coming back for revenge. This game's only on FanDuel if you're playing the DK night slate, I guess there. But Nick, I'm gonna assume you went into this a little more than I did, so take it away with LA and Brooklyn.
Yeah, so the Nets are actively tanking now, and it's not like the players are. The front office is, so they're like resting guys when they're healthy. It's kind of a mess. Ben Simmons himself came out and said, "Hey, we're trying to win. We're basketball players," which is funny because he hasn't tried to win in 3 years. But yeah, Cam Johnson, the one guy who I think is probably going to be out tonight. Still no Cam Thomas. Simmons at his price really don't have much interest. I actually think my favorite net here is probably Keon Johnson again. I keep saying it. I know he played terrible against the Clippers. Everyone did, though. You can't play Keon when he's the point guard, but if they have a point guard starting, whether it's Ben or D'Lo, I do like him playing off the ball. Should see extra usage here, again, with Cam Johnson likely sitting. Clowney's super volatile. You can mix him in. Claxton's going to be relied on pretty heavily. He's actually the worst plus minus on the Nets right now, which is kind of hilarious. But against the Lakers, they're going to need him on the floor. And then D'Lo, I would say you play him, but he's overpriced on FanDuel. He's not on the DK main slate, so I'm pretty comfortable getting away from him. Tyrese Martin would maybe be the one value play I'm getting to on FanDuel off the bench, but I don't like the Nets very much here. I don't mind mixing them in a little bit, but none of them are priorities at all.
Nice. I don't have anything to add on to that. That was great. What about my Lakers? Good OF index for AD. LeBron's fine. Austin Reeves back down to earth. 8.9 OF index. No one stands out for value except maybe Rui on DK, Rui on FanDuel. What do you like here?
I like LeBron at his price. I don't mind AD as a way to get different. Those are the two I really have any interest in. Max Christie's continue to outplay what I think anyone expected of him coming into the season. He's
Yeah,
viable
he
as
does.
value. But yeah, I can't sit here and say anything's a priority. If you think this game blows out, then maybe we get some Dalton Connect finally. I don't necessarily think you can expect that though. So LeBron and AD is just kind of contrarian plays for me, and then Christie is contrarian value. That's pretty much it. Again, I always like getting exposure to the late game, but this one's just tough to get excited about.
Yes, we both our teams suck just in different ways,
Different ways, yeah. That's suck intentionally. That's the difference.
It's like, and then we have Memphis here. I saw some questions about Ja. We haven't projected for 32 minutes. I do not mind him as a play. I can't look him up on DK, obviously. Did you like Ja as a pay up on FanDuel or maybe on the DK night slate?
Yeah, I don't mind it. He did dunk over Wemby last game. He's still sub 9K on both sites. Obviously not on the main slate for DK, but
I
cheaper than the other guards. So if you need a little bit of a discount, I think he makes sense. Again, he went for 49 in 31 minutes in this exact same matchup. Don't know that we could expect that again, but at his price, you don't like quite need that much out of him. So I do like him.
I will mention I took his overs, points, rebounds, assists. So go Ja. Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't look terrible on FanDuel at 8,600. I'm kind of surprised he's pulling as much ownership as he is, 11%. And then Desmond Bain at 18%, 7,300. That seems kind of high.
Yeah, I think they're just both kind of priced where they should be. There's not a ton of meat on the bone in terms of upside.
Anything else on Memphis?
For Memphis, no.
At San Antonio, we got Wemby, we got Devin Vassell, we got Stephon Castle. So, yeah, what are we doing here? Lots of guys pulling ownership.
Fire them all up. I think they
Yeah.
all look good. I think Wemby
Yep.
looks even better than Giannis if you could find a salary for him. Castle prices come up, but he's been excellent as long as he's starting, and he should. Still no Jeremy Sochan. He looks good here. Chris Paul coming off a terrible game. You could go there. There's just a lot of better guards than him in that price range. So I'd rather get the Vassal again, thin small forward position, somewhat scoring dependent, but he's been pretty consistently hitting value at his price. So Wemby obviously the prize here. I do like Castle a lot, and then Vassal probably in third if I'm ranking them.
Yeah, Castle, really strong DK value. And I'll mention his Vegas lines today were kind of inflated. And if he hits those lines, he's going to smash this 4,500 price. And then even at the 5,200 on FanDuel, he'll reach value there.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are game log watching a little bit. He
Mm-hmm.
crushed in this exact same matchup. So I think that's kind of inflated things like all the people who saw he went for 26 real points last time. I don't know that we could expect that, but he is too cheap for what he can do as a starter.
I do like him. I'm not playing on FanDuel today, so I don't know exactly how the lineup construction looks, but just eyeballing it, 36% sounds a little bit too high given what we have on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, he does have shooting guard eligibility. I
Right.
like him. I don't mind it.
All right, let's run through a couple questions before we get out of here. Don't forget Duncan Robinson is starting. It's, he's a 1-2% play.
Mhm.
Dort or Kason. That's actually a coin flip because they're both there. They're just both at the top of the value model.
I would say Dort for floor, Kason for ceiling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yesterday it
mean,
was Dort.
it was Dort, but he only played 19 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I lean Dort.
Tatum or
Then I might lean on
Barnes.
Kyrie.
Tatum or Barnes, Nick, real quick.
I guess Tatum.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion. Levine just got downgraded. It's questionable though, which is great because it's just going to mess up things. It's in the third set of games, so we should hopefully have time to alter things, but just keep that in mind. I'm going to remove him from my exposures and bump up everyone else now, so we're probably going to get a little bit more giddy Kobe White, and I already like Vooch a lot.
Yeah, I love Kobe White now. He's going to be the one I get to the most. I will mix in Giddy.
Real quick, if Levine's out, what about like do we think Io DeSunmu can play? Oh, he's 61. His price might not even. We might not be able to play him anyway. But Lonzo should get a little bit of a bump, maybe more usage.
I already like Lonzo. The thing with him is he's going to be capped at 26 minutes regardless, so we'll get a little bit of a boost, but it's not like some massive, massive jump. So keep an eye on ownership. As long as he doesn't get too popular, I do like that call.
And then this is a good question. Are we on more on SGA and LaMelo instead of Giannis? I personally am, but it's like you got to consider the rest of my exposures are shaping that. It's not just that I like SGA and LaMelo more than Giannis. It's that whatever I have at power forward for value fits better than whatever value I have at point guard, I guess. But that's probably how the field's going to build too.
Yeah, and I was gonna say yes, but now with this news coming out of Chicago, like if I'm trying to get to more Kobe and maybe Josh Giddey, that could change a little bit. But yeah, coming into the stream, I was getting to the guards more than I was Giannis, but Giannis is in that same tier. Those three are the top tier tonight on DK. You had Wemby to that over on FanDuel. But yeah, I think now if we do have to kind of force in Kobe White and maybe Giddy, it's going to be a little bit tougher to just load up at guard. We may have to get to more Giannis.
And then last question, T. Murphy or Sexton? Just T. Murphy by a mile, but I don't feel as good about him today as I have the last few days since they're like almost fully healthy now.
Yeah, with Zion in, I thought we'd see this big dip. It hasn't come yet, but it's still Murphy for me. Sexton with Georgian, a little bit overpriced. I think he's going to get you your 35 fantasy points, but Murphy's been hitting 50-point ceilings. Can't really say the same for Colin right now.
All right, guys, we're going to leave you here. If you want to like check out this stuff last second, I sorted by DK value, sorted by FD value. Just pause the video. OF index and DK ownership. If you want to build your cash lineup using the top of this and just noting like who looks good in the model, and FD ownership. Really appreciate you guys watching. Nick, anything else?
Nope, just keep an eye on news and lineups, and good luck, everyone.
Nice. Catch Jayhawk in the Discord Q&A. Instructions to join that are in the description below. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.